London, 1960s. The city's underworld is alive with intrigue, power, and crime, and at its heart stand two larger-than-life figures, Ronnie and Reggie Kray, two men who made the streets their stage, and their names synonymous with both fear and fame. How did they rise to such heights? Let's delve into the video wild ride that was the Kray twins' reign. Early life from Haggerston to high society. Ronnie and Reggie Kray were born on October 24th, 1933, in the working-class neighborhood of Haggerston in East London. Growing up in a relatively poor family, they were initially known for their rough-and-tumble behavior. Their father, Charles Kray, was a factory worker and a gambler, often absent from the family home due to his love of the pub. Their mother, Violet Kray, was a more prominent figure in their lives, fiercely protective and deeply committed to ensuring her sons became something important. She often encouraged them to aim higher. The twins, however, had big aspirations right from the start, and their early life was marked by attempts to rise above their socioeconomic status. While they weren't necessarily academically inclined, both boys excelled in boxing, an outlet that allowed them to get a taste of the thrill of competition. Little did anyone know, their rise in the boxing world would only be a precursor to their later involvement in organized crime. Their early fascination with power and the street life would serve them well in building their future criminal empire. But how did these East End boys, with a taste for trouble, evolve into the most feared figures in London's criminal underworld? The answer lies in their unyielding ambition and unshakable bond as twins. The rise of the firm, nightclubs, notebooks, and notoriety. By the late 1950s, the Krays were no longer just street thugs. They had a whole new vision for their future. The twins became well-known nightclub owners, with Esmeralda's Barn being their most famous establishment. This club was no ordinary night spot. It was the epicenter of glamour and sophistication in London's East End, drawing celebrities, politicians, and famous figures from all walks of life. From the glitzy atmosphere to the illicit business transactions that took place behind the scenes, Esmeralda's Barn was where the Krays' criminal empire began to take shape. But the Krays weren't just playing the part of the glamorous hosts. They were involved in everything from loan sharking to protection rackets. They ran a tight operation built on fear and loyalty. They knew how to keep their operations in check, and their reputation for ruthlessness ensured that no one dared to cross them. What set them apart from other gangsters was their ability to blend into high society while orchestrating some of the most dangerous and illegal activities in London. The Krays were no longer just small-time crooks. They were the kings of the East End. It was this ability to juggle the glamorous with the gritty that made them so intriguing to both the public and the police. But with every rise, there's a fall, and the Krays' downfall was on the horizon. Celebrity status. By the early 1960s, the Krays had transcended their criminal status. They were rubbing elbows with the rich and famous, and their reputation spread beyond London. The twins were photographed by famed photographer David Bailey, attended glamorous events, and were even mentioned in the same breath as celebrities. Their ability to blend into high society while secretly running a criminal empire fascinated the public. They were frequently in the media, and their celebrity status only grew as they became symbols of defiance against the establishment. But while the Krays' public image was one of sophistication, their private lives were filled with violence and criminal schemes. They were known for being charismatic, but also for their cold, calculating approach to crime. Their public persona may have charmed the masses, but the criminal underworld wasn't so forgiving. The Krays had made a lot of enemies, both on the street and in the corridors of power. The dark side, murders, mayhem, and Mitchell. No gangster story is complete without a body count, and the Krays were no exception. Their reign was marked by brutal murders and violent confrontations. In 1966, Ronnie Kray shot and killed George Cornell, a member of the Richardson gang, in front of a pub in Whitechapel. The murder was as brazen as it was shocking, done in broad daylight and in front of witnesses. But the Krays' violence didn't stop there. They were involved in the murder of Frank Mitchell, an escaped prisoner who had been hiding with the twins. Despite their eventual acquittal, rumors of their involvement persisted. However, the most infamous act was the killing of Jack the Hat McVitie, a member of their own crew. After a botched hit, McVitie was murdered in 1967, marking the beginning of the end for the Krays. Their growing bloodlust was a warning sign. As their power expanded, so did their capacity for violence, and it wasn't long before they had the law breathing down their necks. The fall. By the late 1960s, the law finally caught up with the Krays. Detective Chief Superintendent Leonard Nipper Red became obsessed with bringing them down. Red's efforts were relentless as he combed through evidence, tracked down witnesses, and gathered intelligence on the twins' criminal activities. The Krays, however, were not easily brought to justice. Their criminal empire had built such a web of fear and loyalty that few were willing to testify against them. The Krays' trial in 1969 was a spectacle. The courtroom was packed, and the media had a field day. The twins, along with several of their associates, were convicted. Ronnie Kray was diagnosed as criminally insane and sent to Broadmoor, while Reggie Kray was sentenced to life in prison. The judge, Mr. Justice Melford Stevenson, summed up their crimes in a simple yet powerful statement. Society had earned a rest from their activities. Their reign of terror had come to an end. But the damage they caused would never be forgotten. Life behind bars, the aftermath. After their convictions, the Krays spent the rest of their lives behind bars, though their experiences were vastly different. Ronnie Kray was sent to Broadmoor Hospital, a high-security psychiatric institution. While there, he continued his infamous lifestyle, painting and reading, and even planning his next big escape, which never happened. He died in 1995 from a heart attack. Reggie Kray, more composed in prison, served his time with a degree of decorum. After 30 years, he was released on compassionate grounds in 2000 due to terminal cancer. He died just weeks later. His passing marked the end of an era for the Krays, but their impact on the world of crime and celebrity continued to echo. Though the twins were gone, their legacy of violence and power lingered, and the story of the Krays was far from over. Legacy from villains to virtuosos? The Kray twins' story is one of contradiction. They are remembered as both ruthless criminals and cultural icons. Their ability to straddle the line between criminality and celebrity has made them the subject of countless books, films, and documentaries. To some, they are anti-heroes, figures who rose above their circumstances and defied the law. To others, they are cold-blooded killers who destroyed countless lives. Their legend has been cemented in popular culture, with portrayals in films like The Krays 1990 and Legend 2015, in which Tom Hardy famously played both twins. Their story continues to captivate people worldwide, with the Krays' complex characters making them figures of fascination and debate. The Krays may have left the stage, but their story is far from over. It's a tale that raises the question, can criminals ever truly escape the shadows of their past? That's it for the Kray twins' wild journey. If you enjoyed this deep dive video into crime and celebrity, don't forget to like and subscribe for more epic stories. Got thoughts on the Krays? Drop them in the comments below.